Hi, how's everyone? Trying to get this hat situated on my head because my braids are so big that hats really don't fit on my fucking head because my natural hair. But I hope everyone again is having a great day. I did my last video on Roseanne, but it cut off, so I'm going to continue that. Basically, Roseanne got fired from her show, Roseanne, and the show was subsequently canceled because she referred to Valerie Jarrett, an African American woman, as an ape that is a combination of Muslim Brotherhood. And when I saw that on Twitter, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that Roseanne was bold enough to say such a thing. And I thought, oh my God, what? And soon I was looking at tweets that said, oh, Roseanne is finally canceled. And I'm like, what? And my mom texts me and says, yeah, Roseanne was canceled because she made some racist comments. And I said, well, that's what she gets, because Roseanne to me is somebody who just wants attention. She doesn't know what she wants to be. She just says things at the heat of the moment, doesn't think. And she has shown her true colors. Roseanne, to me, is somebody who has always said some off the wall things. I remember following her back in 2012, and I actually was a fan of Roseanne, and I liked what she had to say, but I know that she would say some weird things about Arabs and make some kind of Islamophobic comments. And then she got into this beef with Beyonce stands back in 2012 because she was saying that Beyonce wasn't all that and her music was terrible. And some stands were saying that it was anti-black the way that she was coming for Beyonce. But then she sat there and said, oh, but I love Mariah Carey, and Mariah Carey is a black woman. Which, you know, Mariah Carey is black, but of course she's white passing, and of course she's biracial. So it just seemed off to me. And now for Roseanne to say what she said about Valerie Jarrett, it just shows that Roseanne is a racist, and she thinks that the stuff that she says is funny and she can get away with it. Well, no, now you lost your job and you lost other people's jobs too because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. I feel sorry for the cast, and I'm sad that they lost out on the opportunity. Like, those people really had nothing to do with Roseanne's politics, but Roseanne wanted to be funny on Twitter and act like this was 2001 and she can make obscene comments. Well, no. And Valerie Jarrett even said, I'm fine. I'm okay. It's just the fact that so many other black women receive the same abuse and don't get the support that I get. And I wish that more black women would stand up to themselves, and I wish more black women will stand up for themselves and to people that give them abuse, as well as other people come to their defense. Because like I said, you know, y'all don't really say anything about Roseanne's questionable behavior until someone of power gets called out by her. And then suddenly you guys act like you got morals and all of that, when you guys were greenlighting everything that had to do with the show, even an Islamophobic episode where the family believed that a Muslim couple were building bombs in a house. But now y'all firing Roseanne and canceling the show because she said something that you really cannot defend. You know, you really cannot defend blatant anti-blackness. So now all of a sudden, you know, y'all just don't agree with her views. ABC, you greenlighted the show, okay? You greenlit the show. So you can't say you don't agree with the views when you have the show in the first place and you knew what Roseanne was about. You saw her on all these talk shows talking about her views. Now all of a sudden you have a problem because she straight up called a black woman an ape. And Roseanne tried to say, I thought she was Saudi. And then she turned around and said, well, I believe that she was Hispanic. Even if you believe that was even if you believe that that was a Hispanic woman, you knew that she was a woman of color, and the comment could still be taken as racist. Because, I mean, to me, yes, the woman could pass for mestiz or maybe a racially ambiguous Latinx. But at the end of the day, you knew that she was a woman of color and you chose to use the words that you used. And then if you thought that she was Saudi Arabian, well, again, you compared her to Muslim Brotherhood. So obviously what you said has something to do with her ethnicity or what you believe to be her ethnicity. Roseanne, fuck out of here with that. Let's talk about Drake and Pusha T. A lot of people apparently do not know who Pusha T is. I knew who Pusha T was for a while. I was a fan of him actually during the good music era of 2012 when Kanye released that compilation album and the song Mercy and New God Flow and Don't Like, the remix of Chief Keef's I Don't Like. I loved Pusha T. I loved his voice, and I actually was looking forward to Daytona. But when I heard that he decided to throw shots at Drake, I kind of held off on listening to it for a little bit because I'm thinking like, y'all niggas always want to come for Drake, and a lot of y'all be hating because there was a time where I didn't really care for Drake, but now I love him. Now I'm a fan, so I was just kind of like, I don't know about this. Apparently Drake said something 2 years ago to Pusha T, and Pusha T did not respond, and then all of a sudden now he decides to respond, and he and Kanye were actually criticized because they decided to use a photo of Whitney Houston's bathroom, the same bathroom that she drowned in when she overdosed, for the cover of Pusha T's Daytona album, and that got a lot of controversy. So Pusha has done some questionable things as well, but basically he came for Drake on that album, and Drake responded in less than 24 hours. Then a couple of more days later, Pusha responds with an even nastier diss. He basically read Drake to filth. He roasted Drake. He pretty much said everything that we've said about Drake for years, but nobody else has publicly called him out on. I even felt some of the stuff that Pusha was saying on this diss track. And I wasn't even trying to root for Pusha. I was trying to be, a good little fan of Drake, trying to be a ride or die fan. But Pusha said basically everything that I've said back in 2010 when I didn't really care for Drake. Drake, you do try to be black. You try to feel like you this hood nigga and you black enough, and you clearly insecure about your racial identity, and you try people's blackness on for size. You imitate accents. You act like you Jamaican. You act like you Dominican. And I understand, yes, there's cultural exchange. Africans of all over the world, they share each other's cultures, and I wouldn't say that it's cultural appropriation, but you rather be other people than yourself. So when someone calls you out on it, then you play the victim. Pusha T basically said Drake feels that he's not black enough, his hair won't nap enough, then called him out on being a deadbeat father and being embarrassed to claim a porn star and not taking care of that woman. Basically said, Drake, you are a piece of shit. And I was like, whew, wow, Pusha, you won this round. And I was really, really hoping that Pusha wasn't going to go in on Drake, because I was like, you got nothing. I mean, okay, so what? His father left him. You being petty with that. But then once he started talking about his racial identity and not feeling black enough, and we find out later that the picture he used for the single artwork for the story of Adidon, which is the name of the song and the supposed name of Drake's son, we find out that the picture on the cover was of Drake in blackface from 2007, 11 years ago. I was shook. I said, who? We got a colorist here trying blackface as a light-skinned man looking like a white man doing blackface? Wow. Explain this, Drake. So many people were just shocked. Some people were even hurt because a lot of people were pulling for Drake. And to find out that Drake would do something so insensitive, it just kind of took us aback for a second. But a lot of people believe that Drake lost this round, and I believe it as well, because this is the fourth day. Drake has yet to respond. His only response was some type of apology, iPhone notes, PR statement about why he did the photo shoot in blackface, and talking about he was wanting to combat institutional racism, which doesn't make sense to a lot of people because he hardly talks about race as it is today. He hasn't really said Black Lives Matter. He doesn't really talk about the rights of the LGBTQIA community. We don't know if he's, for gay rights or not. we don't really know about his views. He wants to be safe, you know. He wants to keep it up for his white fans, I guess. But I never really heard him say Black Lives Matter. Someone did mention that the only time he talked about issues going on in the black community was to concern troll Meek Mill. But as far as, you know, really talking about Black Lives Matter, we haven't heard him say anything publicly the way we've heard other rappers say something. You know, he did do the nice for not nice for what the God's Plan video where he was giving out loads of money to people in poverty and sending people to college and sending them on shopping sprees. But we haven't really heard him say Black Lives Matter and really go into the details of how bad racism is in America. And Drake is African American from his father's side. He's Canadian from his mother's side, who is a white Jewish woman. But Drake has been raised as a Canadian, so his experience is shaped as, you know, a mixed race Canadian man. So he really doesn't understand the experience that African Americans have gone through because his life really hasn't been in Tennessee, the South, where his father hails from. You know, he claims it and he does have claim to it. But the problem with Drake is that I always felt as if he tried to appropriate other black people's experience just to be taken seriously. And because he's a light-skinned man, he has so much clout and popularity that no one can really say anything about it. But he has songs like Started from the Bottom, Now We're Here, but he was never from the bottom, okay? He came from this hit TV series, Degrassi, and he had a reoccurring role in the show. And his mother, you know, came from a middle-class family, and he grew up in that type of lifestyle. So for him to act as if he grew up in the hood and he wants to appropriate the experience that fully black and dark-skinned men have gone through, you know, most poor black people in America are dark-skinned and fully black. I hate to break it to you, but most of us poor niggers are fucking full black and dark skin. If you go to the hood, you can see how dark people get. You know, when you go to like the highlands of Louisville, a lot of people here, you know, they tend to be mixed race. They tend to be lighter skin, like my color. But then when you go to the West End or places like that, people tend to be dark skinned. That's just how classism works. That's how colorism, anti-blackness works. It's the caste system where dark-skinned people tend to be the poorest. Hate to break it to you, but Drake sits here and acts as if he understands the struggle instead of saying, yes, I came from a silver spoon or a moderately silver spoon, and I came from a middle-class white family, and I really don't know what it's like to be directly poor and affected by poverty and deal with colorism and the anti-blackness that other black people face. But you sitting here appropriating people's experience, and here's this real dark-skinned hood nigga calling you out, and the fans can't take it. Most of the fans that want to defend Drake are light-skinned niggas or women who really don't know hip-hop but try to act like they cool. And this is not internalized misogyny. It's just my observation. A lot of women that talk about Drake and all of that are like one of those wannabe Instagram models or like the pretty, you know, women that, you know, aren't hood or really don't know about hip-hop but act like they are hip-hop for an aesthetic. And those are mostly his defenders, but people like me, we're kind of on Pusha's side because, again, I wasn't really pulling for Pusha, but he really proved himself in this disc. So I don't know. If Drake comes back with an even nastier disc, then I may be Team Drake. I'm not on anybody's side. I'm just here for the entertainment, really, okay? I have never seen something like this. I mean, I have never been in a situation where I was like, ooh, like, oh my God, he said this. You know, the Nicki and Remy beef was pointless because Remy Ma clearly wanted attention. But this is a situation where both men have something to offer. Both men spoke nothing but facts and the truth. Both of them had good diss tracks. One was a little bit better than the other, but I really don't have any negative to say about either one of them. I just hope this goes all 7 rounds, as other people have said. Like, I really want this summer to be great. Like, musically, I feel like 2018 has a lot to offer. Lastly, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. If you don't know, Kanye has been acting a plum fool all of 2018 so far. He's came out to support Trump, to talk about how he's a fan of Trump and his policies. And then Kim capes for him and says, well, I don't necessarily agree with Trump or Kanye, but that's my husband, so I'm a ride for my man. Kim has just been off the wall lately. She really wants us to believe that she's this woke, cool white woman that is down for the black community. No, Kim, you are not. And here's what really pisses me off about Kim. Not even the fact that she did cornrows or Fulani braids a couple of months ago, but the fact that she wants to stick her nose where it does not belong. Kim goes after Rhymefest, who is a producer of Kanye West's Jesus Walk song. Like, that's the most popular song that we know by Kanye, and Rhymefest has produced a lot of songs by Kanye. Kim calls Rhymefest out because Rhymefest says that when he asked Kanye for the support of Donna's House, which is a foundation where they support inner city children of Southside Chicago, Rhymefest claims that Kanye said, fuck the children of Southside Chicago, you know, I'm just trying to get my money and make this album. And I don't see why someone like Rhymefest would lie about something like that. And Kanye may have not actually said, fuck the children of Southside Chicago, but he probably was like, you know, fuck that, you know, I got other priorities. And Rhymefest was very offended by that. So he takes to Twitter to talk about that, and people are looking at Kanye like he's a piece of shit. Even Azealia Banks weighs in on it, on how when she went there to help out and to, I guess, intern for Kanye, I guess she has some type of affiliation with Kanye. Kanye wasn't offering any type of food. He comes in with a gourmet meal and has his chef cook for him, and he's eating all these stuff in front of people, and they are hungry. They only have little snacks, and he doesn't offer anything to them. You know, he's eating a cantaloupe, you know, like, you know, he's the biggest bitch in the room. And Azealia is basically like, yeah, where's the food? You know, we work for hours, and you're not going to offer anything? And people are saying, yeah, Kanye, you messed up for that. I'm sorry, I keep touching my hair. I'm just trying to get my braids out the way. But I guess Kim couldn't take her man getting all this heat and looking bad herself. So she says, well, you know, Rhymefest, you got kicked out for wearing fake Yeezys, and I imagine Kim talking in the most sniveling, nasally voice ever, saying things like, well, you know, you don't know anything about Kanye, and you're not really about the hood and the poor people, and my children can do a better job than you, and don't make me take the house away from you and have my children run it. Bitch, that struck a chord with me. First of all, you know nothing about the South Side of Chicago. I don't even know anything about the South Side of Chicago outside of friends that I have who are from that area. I'm from motherfucking Indiana, okay? So we got places like Fort Wayne, Maryville, Gary, Indiana, that borders outside of Chicago, and people kind of know what's going on over there. And you got people like Kim who has no type of affiliation saying things like, yeah, I'm going to take over and I'm going to have my children running the way that it should. Bitch, if you really want to be about that life, let's stick your fat ass, your fake fat ass in the middle of Southside Chicago and see how you can handle it, okay? Let's just stick your ass right in the middle of the South Side of Chicago and, you know, see how you can run that area. Let's see it, bitch, because I don't think you can. I don't think you can. And you sitting up here talking down on this man and basically saying, well, we got more money than you and we the lead and you ain't shit. And, you know, all of this nasty stuff. Like, Kim really just showed the true fake materialistic bitch that she is. And I hate to say that because it sounds like you calling out women for caring about looks and money, but it's not even that, because there are plenty of women like Kim who care about the community, who care about the hood, you know, who want to help impoverished communities and children of those areas. It's just the fact Kim, it's all about her looks and all about her body and, the clout. But she doesn't care about real issues. She doesn't care about black women, black men, black anybody. She doesn't care about children. She just cares about the money. And that's what I hate, because there are plenty of rich, beautiful women, who do so much for the communities. You don't have to be necessarily from the hood or those areas to care and to have heart. But Kim is just a heartless person. It just shows that she really is cruel. She's vindictive. She doesn't care about anybody but herself and her circle of friends. And for her to not take this seriously, it really made her look nasty. Like, I was actually disgusted with her. Like, bitch, your half white children who are really raised with a silver spoon do not know anything about those children, or probably don't have any type of friends that are from that area. They have no friends like that. But yeah, you think in their 20s they're gonna care and really have that type of empathy that someone who's from that area or knows people from the area has? No. So basically, she said, no one knows who you are. I'm sorry to my followers, because I'm sure you're wondering who Rhymefest is. And honestly, I was not familiar with Rhymefest like that, but still, Rhymefest has clout in the hip-hop community. As someone says, yes, we may not necessarily see Rhymefest outside of the scenes, but without Kanye, he would not be here, much like without Kim's plastic surgery, he would not be here. Or what did I say? Did I say without him? Yeah, without Rhymefest, Kanye would not be here. And without Kim's plastic surgeon, she would not be here. So basically, you need to watch what you say. You need to watch your mouth, because you don't ever say some dumb shit like that. You don't care about the community. You just care about looking good. And as someone said, Kim is not a very charitable person. And I will say, she has worked in 2008 with Hurricane Katrina, but I feel like she only did that because she knew Kanye at the time and she was trying to appease him. Because she actually knew Kanye for a long time. That 2012 era where they just randomly started dating. No, it didn't just happen. They knew each other for over a decade. Because even when Kanye was dating Amber Rose, Kim's fat ass gonna fucking walk up in, Amber's dojo and basically act like she's her friend just to take her, like, boyfriend at the time. And you can't take anybody from anyone. But Kim and that family loves doing that, where they feel like they can take things from black women, whether they can take their quote-unquote boyfriends or husbands or their style. I just do not like that family. That family is racist. That family is classist. And Chrissy Teigen, I don't like the bitch either. I never did. That pan-faced ass bitch got something to say. I said, bitch, shut the fuck up. Because for you to be friends with Kim and Kanye shows that you ain't really about it either. Because you want to sit there and say you for Black Lives Matter only because your husband said something, John Legend. But I feel like you fake as well. I feel like that whole family, that team of interracial couples that really don't fuck with black women or black people that aren't on their level, I think they are just fake. I never liked Chrissy Teigen. She basically agreed with someone calling Quvenzhané Wallace a cunt because Quvenzhané dared say that she wanted people to respect her name and call her the name that she is instead of trying to shorten it because they cannot handle an ethnic name. Shit, I can spell Quvenzhané. It took me years, not years, but I sat there for a good 5 minutes saying it over and spelling it so I can get it, because you ain't gonna fucking play her like that. You ain't gonna play that little girl like that. And then when one of the Mari twins said that they were pregnant, you have Chrissy Teigen getting on and saying, well, what kind of woman posts her pregnancy test on Instagram like that? That's tacky. So I feel like Chrissy has some type of vindictive spirit in black women, but she's not going to say anything because she wants to perform for the social